Namaste. I'm Dr. Robert, and my subject today on 5-ish Minutes with Dr. Robert is the subject of context, and in particular, the cultural context in which various forms of knowledge, especially spiritual knowledge, arise, and how important it is to be aware of these contexts so that one can understand and employ particular techniques and ideas in the best possible way. When you take anything out of its context, you run the risk of creating a separate problem. For example, as they say in Peru, la huella de coca no es droga. Coca leaf is not a drug. In fact, when you go to Cusco, you will, in the morning at your hotel, be given a choice to drink coffee, tea, or tea of coca leaf, which will assist you to experience that exalted elevation. Cusco is at 11,500 feet. You'll be able to deal with that elevation much better. But when you extract cocaine from that leaf, now the leaf is not so benign anymore. You've taken the essence out of it, but now you, unless you are a very adroit individual, you will not be able to use that essence well without it poisoning you. So similarly, what happens is when people go to countries like India and Japan and places where they want to, let's say, study something spiritual, maybe they want to study Zen, or maybe they want to study Vedanta, or whatever it may be. The concept back when we used to talk about the New Age was that we could take all of these different forms of knowledge that we had collected from wherever it was, and everything was good, and we could just experiment with them, add them one to another, and subtract, multiply, divide, do whatever we wanted to, and it was all great because everything is awesome, and we're in the New Age. But it is not exactly like that. All of these things have cultural contexts in which they were created. Vedanta, for example, is Veda plus Anta. It is the end of the Veda. It is not the beginning of the Veda. So originally you would be taught Vedanta only after you had already done study of the Veda, which involved you reciting the Veda for 3 hours a day for 12 years. That's at least 10,000 hours of reciting the Veda. And you're doing it, 3 hours of recitation is going to create automatic pranayama in you. It's going to create automatic stability. Otherwise, you won't be able to do it. So those 10,000 hours are a prerequisite for being able to actually have the sufficient prana and stability, not just to get an intellectual understanding of something as fundamentally life transforming as Vedanta, but to be able to have that realization, be able to be able to have a hope of digesting that realization. So what do we see instead? All kinds of neo-Vedantins running around saying, I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am the soul, I am already free, I am already realized, but not bringing that into their lives and behaving like someone who has gone through those 10,000 hours to prepare themselves for trying to understand, not just intellectually, but at a physiological, at a cellular level, what that means. So anything and this, of course, is Ayurveda, Jyotish, any kind of subject from another culture needs to be studied with an appreciation for that context, but it's even more important when you're trying to work with a spiritual practice, which is an abstraction, which is a distillation, which is a removal from normal human reality anyway. You have to understand in what context that's being done if you really want to obtain the essence of what that is, instead of simply the outside skin of it, which you can then put on yourself and wander around showing off to others with. This is Dr. Robert thanking you for being aware of cultural context.